Well, I'm Jan Berkvens. I'm an education specialist and curriculum expert. Now living and working in Amsterdam, but in 2016 in Lebanon, where I met the people of Bildits. It was a pleasure back then to provide input and insight during an accelerator meeting on education startups. And it is a pleasure to support again today. Before we start, I would like to ask each one of you to find something in your immediate surroundings where you are now that you would need if you would want to build a house. So look around. You have about 45 seconds to find something that you need if you want to build a house, and show it to us on screen. Okay, wonderful, wonderful. The short exercise shows us that we have different things in mind when we think about building a house and what you would need. The collection of tools that we gathered right now, only in less than a minute, could be a wonderful starting point of a learning activity. It also shows the variety of what we thought of, and also what stage of the process you thought of. Is it about designing? You might need a pencil. If you think about real construction, maybe you need water to make the cement. People who have the Build It kit got it from there. So, and what it also does, it shows what our hobbies or interests are, because most of the things that you use for your hobbies or your interest or what you're interested in is usually right aside you, where you work, where you study, where you learn. And that influences the interpretation of any assignment, and also the assignment that I gave right now, the selection of a tool for building. So it tells us something about the person as well. I was asked to show some pedagogical notions that I find interesting in the Build It education project. About 4 years ago, when I met the people from Bildits, I showed them this slide, or this picture, I should say, from the work of Joyce and Showers. If you can see it, raise your hand, then I know that it's working. Yeah, okay. It is really necessary that we let learners not only study something, but also let them do something. Education, as we know it in schools, in classrooms, is often mainly theoretical. Practical application of knowledge, in many cases, is only imaginative. And if it is physically practical, it is often very limited. While we know of the work of Joyce and Showers that consecutive steps in application really boost the attainment of knowledge and skills. You can see that from the left side to the right side, that there is an element introduced with every step of learning. So if you only give theory, only 5% of the knowledge will be retained. If you add practice in a safe environment, so not yet in the in real life, but in a setup, then attainment is higher. If you add testing it out in real life, attainment of knowledge and skills is even higher. And if you add mentoring or coaching, attainment might rise to 95%. So what we usually see in schools and classrooms is only the left side of what we see in this picture, while most of the learning and attainment of learning is on the right-hand side of the figure. So that's important for us today. Why is it important? Because learners will be able to apply more of the acquired knowledge if they practice with the content. It is also important for us to really understand this, because if we want to give Bildits a place in education, teachers need to work with it in their classrooms. And they will only feel comfortable doing so if they have practiced it first in a safe environment, then tested it in their classrooms. But when we add coaching and mentoring support, then they will keep on doing that over consecutive years. If we forget the last step, the chance that they will be using this new material and these new activities is diminishing rapidly. So adding coaching and mentoring is key to really introduce something not only for one time, but over the following years.
Oh, yeah, sorry to interrupt. I think Mohammed has a question for you, because he raised his hand.
Yeah.
Mohammed, can you hear us? Okay, let's go ahead and see if there's a question coming. Sorry.
Okay. So what we are talking about then is feeling secure to really introduce something new, but also to stay motivated and use it. And motivation is also important in our classrooms. And I have another picture from Dirk van der Wulp, a Dutch educationalist. And that is this picture. Okay, what we see here on the horizontal line is from children having no autonomy and experiencing external pressure, to the other end, maximal autonomy and no external pressure. And on the vertical axis, we have motivation from being extrinsic, so forced upon you, you could say, towards intrinsic, coming out of yourself. This line here is important. And halfway there is the division between controlled motivation and autonomous motivation. When we talk about gamification or play or free space to learn, then we are at this part of the figure. And what do we see there? There is a purpose that the learner really embraces. It's linked to personal norms and values, and there's an internally desired outcome. On the other hand, on the other side, controlled motivation, there is what we usually do in the classroom: blame, pride, shame. High marks against low marks, and also punishment and rewards. Somebody has his or her microphone open, because I have no kids around me. Okay, thank you. So this is usually what we do in classroom. But this is what motivates children. And that is why Bildits is so interesting, because this is where the kids are actually playing, where the kids can use their imagination, where the kids can try their creativity and be able to make mistakes. Let me go on to the next step. So Bildit tries to inspire students with an approach that is largely based on the upper right part of that figure that I just showed. When I looked into the box, I received the box yesterday. Thank you for sending it to Amsterdam. There is all these materials in it. And there's also a little booklet in it. And that little booklet, this is what kids find very interesting, stuff like this. What can you do with it? And then they find this. And in that little book, there is some things that you can do, or how you should do things and how you should not do things. And the good thing about this is that it shows, it doesn't tell you first do this, then do that, then do that, then do that. It only provides the knowledge that is necessary to start building something that the kids can design themselves. And that is very important. It is something else than a recipe that tells you first do this, then do that, then do that, then do that, then do that, killing all creativity. That brings me to my personal opinion of what I usually see in schools when teachers have brilliant ideas, because I can see when you send this into schools, teachers think of, oh, wow, this is great. Yeah, we should do that. Maybe it becomes messy, but I can do a lot with that. And that's where it goes wrong. I can do a lot with that. It is not about what the teacher could do with it. It's what the kids could do with it. And what I usually see in schools all around the world is that teachers have this wonderful idea of a really nice, engaging assignment. Then the teacher starts doing all the preparation work. So where all the creative thinking, where all the problem solving, where all the critical thinking, and where all the creativity goes into. And of that whole trajectory, the last part is left for the students. They can then do the last part of the inspiring process that was there before, and they get a mark for that. So when we send this into schools, it's interesting to think of where's the space for the students. And I'll show you one example, and that's what I'll finish with. And that is a stairs that I found in a school in Finland. Finland is one of the main examples, together with Estonia, on how education should be. The stairs with the numbers on it. Wonderful that you use the environment of the school, every part of the environment of the school, as a place for learning. But then the question is, who thought of putting numbers there? Who put the numbers there? Who designed the numbers? Who put the numbers there? What are the learning activities that the students do on those stairs? Is that all thought through by the teacher, or could it have been done by the students? That is what I would like to say from a pedagogical perspective on learning, on how you could use Bildits, and how you could think about sending Bildits into schools for maximum learning and creativity.